What's up, everybody? Anthony here, specialtymotorcars.net, and behind me you'll see my mellow yellow heart of a Cadillac. 1993 Cadillac Eldorado in canyon yellow. Absolutely gorgeous. I love yellow, whatever, 70s, 80s, 90s cars. That creamy, like yellow, you just don't see anymore. It's not obnoxious, it's classy, it's beautiful. I believe this was the last year for this color, for the Eldorado lineup. I wish they did broughams in this color, but they didn't. Canyon yellow, 93 Eldorado, tan cloth top, absolutely gorgeous. One owner, 55,000 mile car. Gonna do a walk around video of this car, take it up on the highway for a spin, tell you all about it in this video. Let's get into it. Sweetheart. And here she is, an absolutely gorgeous 1993 Cadillac Eldorado. This isn't an ETC or an ESC, it's just a regular Eldorado. It would be the second year for this last generation Eldorado. 93, that means they only had 9 years left, and they ran this body style from 92 till 02, so 10 years. But these earlier 90s versions of this vintage are kind of unique because they have some special trim that like the later ones don't have. You know, the bumpers and stuff like that, the chrome on the bumpers, side moldings, even the interior. One of the great features with this, in many people's eyes, is this is a 4.9 liter powered Cadillac Eldorado. So front wheel drive, but the 4.9 liter, she's a little torque monster. Similar to like the Devilles, late 80s, early 90s Devilles, Sevilles, and these Eldorados had the 4.9 liter V8, similar to the Spring Coupe that I had not too long ago. A driveline that I'm not totally, familiar with. I mean, I am familiar with them, but obviously you know how many front wheel drives I get. I don't get them too often. I pick and choose my front wheel drives. That Spring Coupe, that was a local car to me. I had to buy it. This, it's yellow. It's freaking yellow. I mean, it's yellow. That's why I had to buy this car. A beautiful one owner car, sold new and lived in Utah its whole life. I had the car shipped here from Utah, and you can see it's complemented, and I say complemented, by a gorgeous like beige cashmere-ish, I don't know, I'm horrible with describing tan colors. Stayfast cloth top by E7G Classic. I think it just puts this car right over the edge and just makes it that much more stunning with that top. I know some people in the comments will say, oh, I wish it didn't have the top, but I just think the top just makes this car, and nothing else is needed. The right amount of chrome, the right amount of bling, white wall tires, nothing crazy over the top. I would say Vogues would probably look good on this car. How do I know that? Because the car came in with Vogues, but they were 25-year-old-ish Vogues, so those had to go. And honestly, lately I haven't been happy with the quality of Vogue tires, so I put these Travel Star white walls on. I've put dozens and dozens and dozens of sets of these tires on Caddies, Lincolns, Buicks, all types, 17, 16 inch wheels, and I've been very happy with them. But this top, I think, just sets the car off so nicely. Gives it that, it's a 93. I mean, it gives it that look with the the chrome belt line, the gold emblems. I mean, in today's, standards, kind of a little over the top, no pun intended. But I think for this car, it just ties it together so nicely. So we're going to go around this car, show you a couple little blemishes here and there, nothing too crazy. Like I said, a 55,000 mile car, one owner car, serviced, ready to go. I'm absolutely excited to bring you this one. We'll start in on the back of the car here. And from what I can tell, this car, I believe, has all original paint all the way around. You know, some telltale signs. Obviously, it's still got the Carleton Cadillac sticker on the back bumper, and then it has a very consistent pinstripe down both sides, which is actually a vinyl material, but done very, very nicely. It's a black over gold two-tone. I think it looks quite sharp, in my opinion, and I've never really seen them do it before, where it was like right on top of the other. We'll show you the top real quick, and then I'll get into the car. You can see here it still has the E7G Classic tag on the deck lid, all the stitching around the rear window. This is where these tops start to come apart, this seam here, and you can see all the stitching is in really, really nice shape. The rear trim here, beautiful as well. There's a technical term for that trim, and I don't know what it is. I remember it when I have to replace it, but I forget it shortly after. But no staining or anything like that on top. And again, all the stitching in beautiful shape. Seams are in really, really nice shape. The only one thing that is kind of a flaw on this is this spot right here. Now, I think this seam, like they ended the material or ran out, and they had to like start anew. But then it kind of got a little frayed. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a little blob, we'll say. And I don't know if it was supposed to be like that, but it's hard. I don't know if something stained it. I don't think so. But that's really it as far as the top. I mean, quality of the canvas, beautiful. Like I said, all around. All the chrome trim and button snaps are in really, really nice shape. Even all up here, just a few little fuzzies. All the window and channel area. Very, very nice top. So I love the top. Love it or hate it, it's on the car, and it's not coming off the car. All right, let's get back over here to the quarter here. Very, very straight, nice and clean. Now, what I was saying earlier is some of the trim is different on these. You know, I think 92, 93, maybe 94. I think 95 is kind of when they changed it a little bit. But you can see this added chrome on the top. Kind of almost reminds me of like the 90 town car versus 91, where they had like almost like a chrome cap like this built into the bumper. 1 year only for the town car. I believe this was 2 or 3 years for the Eldorados. But then just the form of the rear bumper and stuff like that. A little different. I kind of like it. It's unique. You see so many, say, 95 through 02 Eldorados. It's kind of cool to see one of these equipped with the GM factory installed theft warning system. But anyways, coming back down the side here, very straight, very clean. The rub strip, very, very nice. There are 2 little chips here on the bottom of the driver's door. The top one has a little bit of an indent or ding around it. Come down the side here, nice and clean. Driver's mirror, it's got a little bit of a scuff right there, nothing too crazy. Windshield is in beautiful shape. All the glass on this car is in phenomenal shape. Has the gold Eldorado script on the door. Looks like a little bit of a chip right there. Kind of fighting my shadow here, like Punxsutawney Phil. Paint on the hood is in beautiful shape, no dents or anything like that. Fender, got these black fender trims where, again, the later years didn't have that. So just when you look at the car, I know it's the same Eldorado, but it's technically different. And I just think it gives it that little bit of style and kind of, you know, difference that kind of sets it off from the others. Clear cornering lamps with an amber turn signal, your bumper lights. This is one of the defects or issues here. You can see a little bit of a crack there. It looks like something was bumped up against it and probably did a little puncture to it. Really didn't do much with it. There's that. You get some discoloration on this chrome trim here. A few little chips on the leading edge of the hood right there. Coloring on the grill emblem. chrome grille. A little bit of a stress crack there. A little chip touched up there. I think there was one here and there as well. On the front of the car. The other thing, it kind of drives me nuts, and there's really not much I could do with it because I couldn't find one. I looked and I looked and I looked. I wasn't going to hold this car up anymore. Is this front license plate bracket? Obviously, you can see it's got some cracking to it. You know, I didn't want to glue it back together and take it off and kind of rig it back, but the top part of it here has got these two broken pieces. And then on the side here as well. Obviously something bumped into it or it bumped into something causing it to break apart like that. But 92, 3, and I think 4, it's hard to find that. You know, I looked on eBay. There wasn't any in my local junkyard. Well, there was a 93, but smashed in the front. So no hope in a front license plate bracket. It's one of those things that you're just going to find at some point eventually. But it works for now. The other defect here is this chrome trim. You can see a little bit of a chunk taken out there and some spider webbing. But other than that, nothing too crazy. You can see the chrome is nice and bright. Come around this side here. This is another small defect. Really, most of the defects is really just this front bumper area, where you can see this trim is a little loose, and then it's got this stress crack right here. You know, it's one of those things I have a hard time. I want to fix every little thing wrong with every car I get. And sometimes you just got to say, you know what? It's a used car. It's an older car. You got to stop at some point. You know, examples like this are that. I try to be a perfectionist, and you can't. The car is 93. The car is 30 years old. It has beautiful paint on it. It's mechanically sound. So that's, you know, sometimes that's what you got to go with. Fender here is absolutely beautiful. The hood, nice gloss to the paint. Brand new Travel Star white wall tires. Chrome 16-inch wheels. Those are the factory wheels for this car. They use these on the Devilles later years as well. It's kind of a common wheel for the cars. A few little chips on the mirror, a couple little minor scuffs on the edge there. Come down the door here, nice and straight. Lower, Eldorado, looks good. A couple little minor guys right there, nothing too crazy. A little bit of spot maybe where the pinstripe came off a little bit. A couple little guys right on the edge. Again, nothing too crazy. This is a 93, and I'm nitpicking because you know me. Another thing that I actually only noticed this when it was on the lift, but if you kind of look at an angle, you can see a lot of little, you know, it's almost like this car was in a garage, and it was definitely garage. There's no way this car is this nice with that top on it, and it wasn't garage. But I would almost say it was in a garage, and right here was probably a man door or something to get into the garage. And they just kind of constantly dinged it against this piece of trim here. The quarter is not dinged or marked up at all. It's really just this black piece of trim. You kind of see it there. Again, very minor. You know, if I skimmed over that, you would have never noticed it. And I really only noticed it when the car was on the lift and I was looking up at it. I'm like, oh, look at all the little dings in that. But another actually section here where it looks like some of the pinstripe kind of faded, or a little piece came off of it there. I did rebuild the power antenna on this car. That's working flawlessly. A lot easier to do than a brougham, let me tell you. Forgot to mention another 225 6016 Travel Star white wall. Come around the back bumper. Get that signature Cadillac quad tip dual exhaust. Chrome is in nice shape. You know, minor light scratching from loading and unloading the trunk. I think there was 1-2 spots of paint touched up on the rear bumper. Very minor scuffing on the corner here, right here. I like this cool old sticker. Salt Lake City car its whole life. Bought new at Carleton, and it lived in Salt Lake City its entire life, which is neat as well. Deck lid. One of the things that a few people, pollen, that's one of the good things with this car. You don't see a lot of pollen on it. A few people kind of threw at me when I posted this on my Facebook and Instagram was, oh, it's missing the emblems on the trunk. And when you look at it, your typical, or what your brain thinks is like that 95 to 02 era Eldorado, where it would say 32 valve North Star in very small thin emblem here. And then it would say ETC or ESC on the passenger side. These early ones did not come with emblems down there. Cadillac Motor Car Division and Eldorado right there. They didn't really differentiate between the ETC or an ESC, which this is probably what it'd be considered back then. Later years they did. So I promise you there are no missing emblems there. I was thinking of getting a gold like old school, either Cadillac script or Eldorado script, and putting it here. I think that would look good. But I didn't want to do that and then be like, oh, you put emblems where they're not supposed to be, because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But anyways, that's it. I know I'm rambling now. Last thing that, see if we can see it in the camera here. This is kind of hard to capture. It's so bright. I got the shadow behind me. There is a little bit of a scratching situation going on across the deck lid here. Very, very light, very faint. Again, you got to be up on top of it to notice it. But I wanted to point it out. It's the outside of this 1993 Cadillac Eldorado. We're going to jump onto the inside, and we're going to take it for a spin. All right, diving onto the inside of this beautiful Cadillac Eldorado. You can see a very unique dash that, again, was for a few years, and then 95, I think. And I'm not an Eldorado front-wheel drive expert. They changed it, different steering wheel. Well, they changed the steering wheel, I think, sooner than that, but with the gear shift and the center console changed. A lot of things the same, yet I noticed a lot of differences from like this one to say that 2001 convertible I just sold. You know, one of the main things is like the finish here on these panels aren't color coded to the doors. It's two-tone, which I kind of like, where I believe the other Eldorado, it's all the same color throughout. Doesn't have the pocket down here like the later Eldorados do, but otherwise pretty similar. The earlier 90s cars had what they called the tissue box steering wheel or airbag, which I like, some people hate. But anyways, jumping onto the inside, you can see in the door jambs, nice and clean, no rust. This is a very, very clean car all the way throughout when it comes to any kind of rust or corrosion. Neat thing that you can see here is some service interval. This looks like 1999 at 24,000 miles. It was a major lube. I don't want to peel it off to see what was underneath it, but I think that's kind of cool, that old school service tag. 8 of 92 is the production, so this would have been an early 92 model year. I'm sorry, 93 model year. Door panels in very, very nice shape. No splitting on the seams here, kind of a common spot. Nice and tight. You have your power windows, power mirrors. No memory seats. I don't think these cars came with memory like the later ones did. One thing that's pretty spectacular is the condition of the carpet in this car. I'm sure there's a little bit of dirt wear right there. But for the most part, all throughout, I'll show you the back in a minute, the carpet is in phenomenal shape. It's got that sheen to it that you don't see, you know, when carpet kind of gets beat down. Like, it's got that real fresh sheen to it, which I absolutely just think is cool. Dash pad's in really, really nice shape. Very minor kind of popping of this guy here, the center defroster, which is minor. I mean, usually these dashboards are all curled up. This one's in really nice shape. Leather wrap steering wheel. I love this steering wheel design with these little bumped out spots here. You get a real nice grip on it. Dual power heated lumbar seats. You can see a little bit more wear obviously on this seat. The side bolster on the back is nice and soft. A little bit of wear there in the color. Not too crazy, or too bad I should say. This bolster on both sides is kind of collapsed. So I want to probably assume just from getting in and out of these cars, or maybe the foam that they use wasn't the best. A little bit of a split there. You can see where the seatbelt bumped up against this a few times. But we'll get closer into the interior when I dive back in the front here. Back seat is in phenomenal shape. Nice and clean. Really looks like it's probably hasn't been used much. I don't want to say never sat in, but ashtray is nice and clean. Sill panels. I haven't sat in the back seat of this car, but it looks like a very comfortable back seat. Just the way it's laid out, but you can kind of see. You can't really see my camera. Yeah, there you go. Look at the sheen on the fibers of the carpet. I know I'm kind of sounding crazy, but just goes to show you the carpet's not beat to death. You can see back pockets here. I believe these articulate. Yep. Doors close nice and easy. Get inside that jam, nice and clean. And I like the two-tone they did with these door panels. Well, the carpeting is in nice shape. Speaker grills are in nice shape, not beat up or cracked up. Again, that dash pad, very nice. Another common thing I believe with this era Cadillac is the wood here. This is real wood. Sombrero wood, I believe is what they called it. No cracking at all the way throughout the whole dash. It's in really nice shape. It's got the little Cadillac inlay there, and then it flows onto the door panels. Absolutely no cracking at all. Again, the warpage is very minimal. Really nice shape for a dashboard on these early Cadillacs. Center console there with the heat buttons. I'll show you that in just a minute. Carpeting, very, very clean. Again, has that sheen to it. Like I said before, dual power. Let me zoom out a little bit here. So, power forward and back, up and down, obviously, and then recline. Seat on this side, nice shape. And you can kind of see the, this seat obviously hasn't been used as much, but you can kind of see a little bit of collapsed foam right there on this side bolster. But otherwise, one thing I will argue is I think that the comfort of the seats in this Eldorado, this era, they're more comfortable than the later ones. And I kind of forgot that until I got this car in and I started driving it. Has the rear climate controls. Excuse me, my allergies. Starting to sniffle here. Unused ashtray, but very, very clean throughout the inside. And again, the seat back pocket, nice shape. So let's dive into the glove box. Pop the trunk, get your fuel door release, owner's manual book. That's all we have in here. Visors are in nice shape, probably lit vanities. Yep. One thing it's got this like kind of black grease stain. I tried cleaning it, some of it came off. It's not a burn, but I didn't want to rub it too much because like you could see like I was starting to distort some of the material or the fiber, but that is there. Aside from that, there's really no other major staining on the inside of this car. All right, let's dive into the driver's compartment. We'll start her up. All right, jumping behind the wheel of the Eldorado, I'll show you what I got for keys. I got one set of original gold keys with a fob. The fob shows somewhere on the lock and unlock. And actually, if you push the unlock, oh, no, it does work. Lock, unlock, trunk works, and then interior lights. One thing that I think is absolutely so cool is it's got this old school key ring here, keychain from Carleton Cadillac Company. Really cool. You don't hear that anymore. It's not Cadillac Company or Ford Motor Company. 55,143 miles on this car. I'm going to shut the air off for just a minute. You can hear the air suspension pump kick on. And I love the throatiness that these 4.9s have. Kind of unique to these cars. This is kind of neat. I found these sunglasses up in here and I left them up here. I don't know if I'd ever be able to rock something like this. But I said, you know, those are kind of cool. I'll leave those there. Auto dimming rear view mirror. You have a 3-way selector for the range. All right, we'll shut it off. Already popped the trunk. Let's pop the hood. We'll take a look inside the trunk first. Open it up. Very spacious trunk. Very similar trunk space as the next, 95 and up. The one thing that I noticed they changed, and sometimes you scratch your head, think like, who thought of this? So you can see there's no trunk, well, there's a very small spot of trunk carpeting on the inside of the deck. That I know it was the early years of this body style, but like, if you're not going to put trunk lining in, don't put trunk lining in. But then who okayed this little cloth piece just kind of right over the latch? Like, why? Why bother? Why not do either the whole thing or nothing? A brougham never had a trunk liner, and it was fine. And they didn't even put this little, I don't know, it's like a little mustache trunk liner. I don't know, I just think that's a little strange. Inside the trunk here, you can see nice and clean all the carpeting and stuff. Let me zoom out. All 4 original floor mats, your 2 rear ones, passenger side front, driver's side front. Obviously a little bit of wear on the driver's side. Little heel mark, brown spot there. Underneath those is another trunk mat. And then under all those is the option tag for this car. And then an unused spare tire, jack wrench assembly. This is just a fuse box here. This does have the soft closing trunk feature. You just close it. It goes down all on its own. All right, let's jump under the hood. I'll show you that 4.9. The dual hood pistons hold the hood up perfectly fine. The under hood lining is in nice shape. A little greasy and dirty as expected. I don't like to pressure wash those because it'll tear them up. So I know it's kind of ugly to see, the stains or whatever on it, but it is what it is. But inside the engine bay here, very, very clean. Very nice indeed. No rust or really any kind of crazy corrosion. This car was definitely loved, and you can tell. Did just do a fresh oil change to this car. Fresh oil change. We did, I had the air conditioning professionally retrofitted. It was still R12 when the car came in. I had a local shop retrofit it, charge it, leak tested, all that good stuff. It actually still had a little bit of R12. They cleaned the evaporator, they cleaned the condenser for me. Blows nice and cold. But otherwise, an oil change, wiper blades, tires, battery. The car wasn't a needy car at all. It did just have new tranny lines put in, tranny cooler lines. That I could see as far as service history. But very, very clean under here. I love these 4.9s. All right, let's get this baby out on the road. All right, behind the wheel. I'm gonna start her up. I'll put the auto on low. So we get a little bit of cool air coming through here. Oh, the other thing I did do is replace this power window motor. Nice and quick. Passenger side. Fine shape over there. You have mirrors. Horn. That works. Don't want anybody to think I'm beeping at them. Twilight Sentinel, that does work. Cruise control, we'll try that on the highway. But nice cool air. It's kind of cool. It's got this readout just like all the later Cadillacs do. Monitored system's okay. And I guess that's it. But I know you can go through. Oh yeah, coolant temp, battery volts. I couldn't figure out how to reset this. I noticed this when we were coming up here. There's a reset button here, but that actually doesn't reset it. I don't know. I'll have to look in the owner's manual on how to reset that, because we did just do the oil change on this. Other thing I told you earlier in the video is I did rebuild that power antenna. You can see it in the corner there. Down she goes. Perfect. Kind of a simple layout here with your ashtray. Nice and clean, never been smoked in. But it's kind of just it's just there. It's like a square that's there. I do like this shifter. These all light up here. This is kind of cool. It's got the lumbar and heated seat switches here. The lumbar works. The heated seats actually even work on both sides, which is quite neat because you usually don't see that anymore on these early cars. 55,143 miles. Let's take her for a spin around the block. Automatic door locks engage. And here we go. All right, let's try that again. My phone case just broke into pieces. I lost a piece of it too here between the seat. Well, it lasted me quite some time. Anyways, I forget where I was now. I'm losing my train of thought. We're going to take this thing up on the highway, show you what it's got. The 4.9 liter front wheel drive V8. I'd have a little bit of traffic to contend with, but not too bad. It's rush hour, everybody's going home. Alright, let's see if we get some cruise control set here. Old school GM stock. It says cruise is engaged. Oh, not fast enough. Let me get it up to highway speed. Got people piling up behind me. Sorry. Let's try this again. Cruise is engaged. Sorry. Gee whiz. And yeah, she's maintaining speed. You know, these 4.9s, a lot of people like them. They are torquey engines. I mean, they're not rocket ships, but they're a great drivetrain for these front-wheel drive Cadillacs. After they came out of the 4100 era, and they went to the 4.5, which are great engines too, and then the 4.9, then ultimately the 4.6 North Star system. And you could get a North Star in this era. I believe the ETC would have been a North Star car. I think 92 only, and you can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. 92 only, you got only a 4.9. I don't think they had the North Star in the 92 Eldorados, even though, yeah, that would be correct, because the Elantra didn't come with the North Star until 93 as well. So I believe all Eldorados, STSs, you know, the cars that would have had the North Stars of that era, they were all 4.9 cars in 92. So 93 was kind of a carryover year, depending on the model you got, and then 94, I think that's when it kind of became standard. The North Star system. Big, beautiful North Star system. But she handles down the road good. She floats like a Cadillac. She feels like a Cadillac. It is a two-door Eldorado, but she's yellow. She's classy. She's a beautiful Cadillac. I just love yellow cars, like I said. I appreciate everybody for watching the video here. Not my normal cup of tea like my Bromes, but I'm excited to get new cars like this in. It's a very unique car. And to find one in this color, love it or hate it, it's a rare color. It's not pearl white. It's not crimson red or black or, you know, regular appliance white. It's a very unique color for this. Something like this. I highly doubt you'll find many more in this color. I'd love to know the production model year numbers of the colors of this car. I know this is the car. Give me a call. My name is Anthony. 978-930-1004 is my number here. Specialty Motor Cars in Pelham, New Hampshire. Out on Instagram and Facebook. If you do already, you would have known I had this car. It was coming up. Specialty Motor Cars NH on Instagram and Specialty Motor Cars on Facebook. I do all my sneak peeks and all my incomings, reveals there on those two social media platforms. And like I always say, don't let distance stop you from getting your dream car in your driveway. I can help arrange shipping. I can get this car delivered right to your door. I brought it all the way out from Utah, and it's no problem for me to send it anywhere else need be. Again, Anthony, 978-930-1004. Check out all the still pictures on my website, specialtymotorcars.net. Price of this Cadillac Eldorado is going to be $10,995. Any questions, give me a call. Totally appreciate everybody for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Got a lot of nice cars coming up, including a few mid-90s town cars, some more Cadillac broughams. I got a few more of those coming up as well. You're definitely going to want to take a look at those when they come up. Let me know what you think down in the comments about this beautiful canyon yellow Cadillac. Tell me, would you rock this color? I know I sure would. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll talk to you on the next one.